Well, here we go again, guys. We're back with a Gingy and Foxy and NRRRL wrap. I think it's episode
13.
Oh, I had that number. I actually do hate it.
Unlucky 13 or lucky 13?
I hate it.
I don't like it.
It's like when you're playing long bowls and you get to 13, you never get another point.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know that because you don't play long bowls. But anyway, this is
flog
a
you.
rugby league podcast, and we're going to get, well, mate. What about this? Do you want to welcome someone?
Yeah. Welcome him in, Gingy.
Mate, we've got a special guest tonight. You can see the rose amongst the thorns, and it's young Bailey.
Hello, how you going?
Good, mate. Good. Well, geez, mate, we talked it on last week. Good to see you. Good to have you on, mate.
Yeah.
Mate,
Wait, what's doing with your shirt, Bailey?
It's just a good team.
mate, this is a rugby league podcast.
At least you're not wearing that jumper.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
suppose,
true. That's true.
Mate, don't muck with the Dolphs.
Fins
up, baby. Listen, mate, we're going to get the viewing audience out there tonight to get to know the man in between
Yeah.
the two young blokes. So we obviously are the young blokes, and you're the man.
Yeah.
Mate, you're a young bloke tonight that's come onto the podcast. Your first time on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will be going, well, who the hell's this young kid?
Yeah.
This is young. This is the young Goffey. This is what Goffey looked like when he was 12. So, mate, if you look across the screen and you look beyond the screen, and you'll see what you look like in about 50 years' time. It ain't good. It ain't good. Look what you're looking forward to, mate. But, mate, it's good to have you on tonight. You're a bit excited about being on the podcast with the Gingy and the Foxy, or what?
Bloody hell.
You're pumped.
You pumped?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get you in. You're gonna be you got a couple of special guest segments tonight. You're gonna be running the Goffy's Goss
Goffy's
section.
Goss.
Coming from, mate, this is created by Poppy Goss. Poppy Goff. The Goss from the Goff.
The big dog.
The big dog. That's him. So, mate, we're going to get into our podcast now, and we're going to we'll get your input in through this as well. But tonight we got a Les's. Mate, we're going techie again.
We're going techie this time, aren't we?
We've got the games.
We've got the
We're going to go
games.
game by game.
Yeah.
So we might start with our normal around the grounds. Here we go. Let's go. The updates, reports, and all the good and bad and the ugly.
Mate, we're going to jump straight
into
in
Mullumbimby
to Marsh
Brothers.
Brothers and Mullumbimby.
Yeah, mate. I didn't know which. I'm going to be honest. I thought this game. I thought Mullumbimby, based on their effort against Evans Head, I was a bit shocked, mate. It's we're going to call this an upset.
Yeah.
An upset. I think they were pushing for the top 6, Mullumbimby. They've had a great year, but mate, jump straight out of the blocks, Marsh Brothers.
I actually thought Marsh Brothers started hitting a bit of straps the last couple of weeks against United. I thought they were better.
Interesting in this game, they had the number one that just missed the tackle there, Wally Kelly, come back from an HIA. He's out for a couple of weeks, and he was back, and they got him playing fullback, and mate, the person that I think stood out in this game for Brothers, apart from there was a couple of forwards, but young Willie Hammer was good. I think he might have been the one to seal the deal for this game as well. So they just seem to be a team now that's built into their season, albeit too late. But they've come good at the right end, and I think they could finish this season in the next 3 weeks positively, which sets them up for a good season going into next year. So
Mullumbimby, I've said it. I said they were gone.
Yeah, mate, you did say that, and you were spot on.
So they're starting to fade out of the 6 now, aren't they, Mullumbimby?
They've got some tough weeks ahead too. They've got some tough games ahead, and we'll get to that later.
Looks like they've got a different strip on here, Benji. Do you know anything about that?
I don't even know if it's their Indigenous strip, but it looks... Mate, it would have been a really interesting game because they both have very similar strips. So, mate, I think the end of the game, the end of this roundup is Marsh Brothers upset win 28-24. So, I think if you as I said, you go forward into this game, we have a look at it and we can see that, as I said, the winning try scorer or to win the game was Willie Hammond. I think he scored with a little grubber kick through and, pounced on the ball underneath the post. So, well done to Marsh Brothers. They make their way along, to finish off the season in a positive way, 28-24. So, congrats. congrats to the brothers, boys, and we might have some interesting things to talk about in relation to Marsh Brothers.
Bit later
when
on.
we get into the Goss section. So, what do you think about what do you think about the game? You have a look at it, Bales, or what?
Yeah, it was a good game.
Good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
All
know
right,
about
mate.
this
Let's
game.
jump in straight into the next game. Northern United versus the Lower Clarence Magpies. And
Mate, credit.
it wasn't a very good day out for the Dirrawongs, was it?
Mate, credit goes to where credit's due. I mean, I'm going to say the first 40 minutes of this game, I'm not going to say that Lower caught us unaware. They just jumped out of the blocks and they played some really nice footy, mistake-free footy, I must say, on the back end. We didn't see too much of the ball in that first half.
30-0 half-time.
30-0 at half-time, mate. So you can only imagine what my rant was like in the sheds at half-time. But, mate, is it Vince Williams?
Yep.
He was great. His leadership and his direction. The other person, Duggo played a bit of a front row,
Bit of ball playing.
Yeah, mate. And they got us on the back foot, and I think it was through their our lack of defensive efforts. We weren't as good as what we have been the previous 5 or 6 weeks defensively, and as I said, mate, they just played some mistake-free footy on the back of some mistakes from our game, and mate got away to such a super start, and it was always going to be tough. 30-0 at half time. We're keeping you awake, mate.
Nah.
No, that's all right. You got a big yawn going on there. But that's how I felt exactly like you did just then when you gave that big yawn. That's what I felt like at half time. I was like,
And you watched the game?
yeah, it was putting me to sleep.
Oh, mate. It was just that first half, wasn't it? There was just uncharacteristics.
Yeah,
Mistake
mate, look,
from Northern, like drop balls in their own half.
Drop balls. As I said, our middle defence wasn't great. We seemed to be, we weren't winning the rucks is probably the more to the point, and that didn't help us going into that halftime break with such a big lead at 30 to zip. Any team that comes back from 30 to zip is a big effort. But mate, we came out of the blocks in the second half. We jumped away and we kept them scoreless for a long period. I think we got really close at one point, 20 to 30.
With about 20 to go.
With about 20 odd minutes to go, and I thought we were in with a chance there, but
Bit
couple of those errors kicked back
bit
in,
of
mate.
fatigue from that first half.
Mate. We just tried to chase too hard, and Jared C, in this picture here was big in the second half, I think, and Akeem Torrance was good in our second half as well, but Jamal Roberts, mate, I think he led from the front from dummy half and got us onto the front foot, and Theo Hippai's efforts, mate, I think his efforts throughout the game was great.
You lost this fella in the second half there too, Alan McKenzie. Which
Yeah, mate, he got a lower
leg
leg injury in that second half, which didn't help us at all. So,
but credit to Lower, mate.
They
came out in that first half.
I'm just going to go on record that I did say right from the get-go that Lower Clarence's season as a whole of club is, been massive. Credit goes to Dago and his coaching staff and the team of people that he's got around him down there. I had a really good talk to his dad and a few of the Lower Clarence committee throughout the day. And, mate, they're just building on the back of young blokes that are from their homegrown backyard. And they work hard. They're getting results. And I just think, I think they're going to create a couple more upsets throughout the season.
Mate, I actually think that Lower Clarence can sneak into the 6. I think that win against Northern could set them up. They got Kyogle, Casino, and Marsh Brothers to finish off. If they can win all those,
is that the last 3 weeks?
If they can win all those, I think they might sneak into the 6. So that win against Northern.
Mate, look, to be totally honest, there's two things that can happen. They can either sneak into the 6, or you're going to see some changing and movement in this 6, and we'll talk about that later. But again, credit to Lower Clarence. I think good luck to the rest of their season. If they slide into the 6, and guess who we play?
Lower Clarence.
That's obviously I'm saying that because I can't see Northern finishing any lower than 6th place. But anyway, move on to the next game, mate.
Mate, we'll jump into Kyogle versus Evans Head.
Yeah, mate, interesting. First half wasn't much in the first half, mate. I think it was pretty tough. I think it was like a 26 or 24 point lead at half time to Evans Head. Jumped out of the blocks here. I think Kyogle really caught them unaware. But I'm going to make an interesting call in this one, mate. Brandon Anderson, I think he scored 5 tries.
Wow.
Yeah, so his efforts, this bloke is back. You know, we got one of the Kennedy brothers. I think that's Hayden, is it? Hayden Kennedy, back for Evans Head. He was massive in through those middles. He just seemed to find yards through the middle. Be scoring meat pies left, right and centre this year. He looks fitter. He looks 100% fitter than I've seen him any other year. He looks like he's also enjoying himself. So, mate, I think, you know, the way Evans are going, they've got a tough back end. They've got, I think, their last two rounds are Ballina, and we've got them down there at home. I think they're in for a fight here now, but they're going to try and maintain their spot in the 6. But another young player back there, young Zachy Roberts. Yeah, these young kids from Tweed Seagulls, I think they've made a hell of a difference to the Evans team.
Yep.
You got this young number 15, I just can't recall his name, and you've got the other young kid there in number 3. Both those kids, you know, are good additives to the team. You know, on the back of some results now through suspension and injury. I still think that Evans, they're a danger team, mate. But as I said, young Brandon Anderson had a wow of a game, mate. He's got 5 tries. Yeah, and he played centres against us as well. So I think the score ended up 60...
50 to... what was it?
No,
60 to 10.
60 to 10, mate, yeah. So, you know, runaway win there by the Evans Head Bombers. So, good game there, mate. And congratulations to the Bombers. And they'll continue their move up the ladder. And I think they're sitting in 4th or 5th spot at the moment.
And we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. But, yeah, Brandon Anderson, mate, great game. No doubt would have got the Evans Head points for the day. But what do you think about the game, mate? Runaway game?
Run away from the start.
Did you go? Who was you in on for that game at the start of the game? Did you think Evans were going to be, you know, as good as what they were?
Yeah.
You were. Yeah.
Right, so we'll get into our next game, Byron Bay and the Bulamble Jets.
I don't have to watch this. I was there.
You were there?
Yeah, I was at the game.
Mate, I'm going to let you take it away because I didn't watch this one.
To be totally honest.
How'd the young fella go?
Yeah, mate, he actually played off the bench for Bulamble. It was his first hit out in first grade for Bulamble, so he came on. He was a bit, I'm going to be honest, he was underdone. He came on after about 8 or 9 minutes, and he played out the whole second half. And look, I think he did make a bit of a difference to their edge. He obviously, we all know that he's got the ability.
What position did he play?
Back row. So he played in the back row. And Byron Bay, though, I will say from the start, this was a pretty tight game up until probably the last 20 minutes, where that's when Bulamble seemed to stamp their authority. Bulamble, for me, I'm not quite sure what's happening there, but they've either got a huge number of injuries. There was a couple of blokes in there from their reserve grade and a couple of blokes maybe from their 18s that played, and obviously Chris, my young bloke, played off the bench. Jack Durham was off the bench, but when Jack went on, he actually stayed on. So he went on after about 20 minutes and stayed out there, and he was good. But, mate, I can guarantee you, like, the scoreline in this game didn't indicate Byron Bay's temperament. I know you wrote them off, and you're writing them off for the rest of the season.
I have.
But they did show me that they're going to be fighting the last 4 weeks of this competition, mate. So,
mate, Carney, did he play?
No, he didn't
play.
He was out, mate. He was a big out, to be totally honest. Dill was great, mate. This Dill had a big game, and I think he's the Fijian winger.
Yep.
He was huge.
He was good.
Mate, he was good in there. They had a mini comeback, and I think he was great. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, it was a good hit out, and 34-18. So 34-18 to the Bulamble Jets over the Byron Bay Devils.
Yeah, good win there to
What do you think
Bulamble.
about it, mate? You watch it?
Nah.
You did? You had better things to do.
Yeah, watch a rugby union.
I don't even know why we got you on tonight, Bailey. But
I'm
anyway,
the star of the show.
The next time, just say, here's a tip, right? I think it's Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights.
There he is, Chris. There's a young fella.
Yeah, there he is. Yep. Look at him, look.
Young Chris.
He's looking like he struggled too. He did have a good game, I will say that. I think what night is it? I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday night. I think you should start turning up for that podcast because this is the Rugby League podcast, mate.
Mate,
So,
we're into our second game here, so
yeah,
it
we're going to
is
get into it.
Casino
versus Coogin.
versus Coogin.
Did you have a look at this one, Bartley?
Nah.
You didn't?
Oh,
Eddie Walker-Williams
Eddie
there with a
Walker-Williams,
runaway
mate, got
try.
away to a good start. Got Casino away to I think a good start, mate. Look, we didn't even know whether Casino had filled the first grade side this week, and they actually did.
Yep.
We're keeping you awake again, Barley.
yeah.
Yeah, mate, sorry, buddy. It is probably past your bedtime being such a young man. School tomorrow. No doubt you'll be going to everyone at school, saying, have a look at this, I'm on the podcast.
Yeah.
I was on with the Gingy and the Fox. There you go. Mate,
So it's going to be the Hughesy podcast.
It's like the good old days when I used to stay awake for the footy show.
yeah, so, mate, going into this game, look, to be totally honest, I'm going to say Casino were bloody great. They were good in patches. They really made the day longer than probably what Coogin would have wanted. Big ends for Coogin. Caleb Zeeble back in the front row, still playing like a 5'8". He does play quite wide for a front row, but he can play middles tight, and he also plays out on that edge. And he also has that big, long passing game. Was that his brother, or was that him?
I think
That's him, number 15, I think, Caleb. I don't know what's going on with Coogin either. They look like they might be short on a few numbers, but, mate, Coogin ended up running away with the game, 56-12. But they did look clunky
Do you see Coogin being a threat?
in the finals.
Yeah. Or if they make finals?
I'm going to be really honest. They don't look healthy. They're not the Coogin. I think if they make it through to the finals,
Any team's a threat, isn't it?
every team's a threat in the finals. To make the six, you can't be comfortable. But I think there's a bit of work. They look a bit underdone, which doesn't help going into this back end of the season. And their injuries, depending on whether those blokes that have been injured and out have been training, they just look a bit. If in the final series, it's a different intensity. The game's played at a different speed. So I'm just saying they'll make the six, but yeah,
What happens
it's
from
going to
there,
be
we don't
interesting
know.
to see how they go once they get there.
All right, mate. Ballina versus Tweed Coast down at Seagull Stadium.
I predicted that this was going to be a tight game. Dun, dun.
Mate, I think apparently it was tight for the first
Yeah, it was actually.
half, and then
The first half, it could have been 24 or 26-12.
yep.
And then obviously Ballina stamped their authority. I'll tell you what was impressive for Ballina. I think I don't think anyone's given their halves any credit. But mate, they're 6 and 7.
They're good, aren't they?
Is it the young kid of
McClintoff,
McClintoff,
I think
mate?
his name
I'll
is.
tell you now. Ciro's good.
He's quick too.
He's good. No, mate, but the 6 was
He's good,
for me. He was a bit of a difference in this team. Look, everyone in this competition and everyone that I run into have already told me that Ballina's, pretty much wrapped up the competition this year and it's their season. My comment to that is there's 5 other teams playing finals footy, and you can have one of those seasons where you go through and it's such a breeze, and then get to the finals and all of a sudden you're out the back door before you know it, or you're doing it tougher than what you actually thought. What do you think, Bales?
Didn't really watch it, but it was a good game by Ballina.
So,
Who's that?
what are your thoughts on Ballina going into the finals?
I reckon they're going to have a pretty steady run, but they could get a bit knocked up.
Yep, good. Who do you think will knock them up?
Couldn't really tell you that.
Yeah,
You might have something in Goffy's goss for that.
yeah.
Probably United.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I'm hoping you're 100% on the money because we're going to be given everything to
Might
give
give-
ourselves an opportunity.
Might
to
give a
come
bit of
finals.
a run for their money.
Yeah, well, mate, we're going to have to. We may, depending on how the next 4 weeks go, or in the competition, 3 weeks. Is it 3 or 4 weeks?
No, I knew
3
you.
weeks.
No, I
Then-
knew you're going to train them really hard.
No comment. I'll tell you what. You actually do know your rugby league, and you know you actually have you been talking to your old fella over in the back there, and your old pop about
Over there.
yeah.
Haven't said a word to him.
Have you been talking to him about what I'm like as a coach?
No?
Oh, good. Because I thought
So-
I might to give you some goss on the Gingy.
Bound
So,
end up
mate-
being too good, mate. 50 to 10.
50 to 10. So, well done to Ballina. This is going to be interesting, though, Foxy, for the simple fact that when we look to the ladder, I think Tweed Coast, mate, their back-end run is huge. It is. They're playing everyone in the top 6 in their back end.
And we might have a look at who plays who in these last couple of weeks
Okay.
when we get to the ladder stuff, eh?
Yep. Okay, so congratulations to Ballina. Tweed Coast, you'll progress through, obviously, still in the 6 at the moment. But your back end, I know when we look into that, we'll have a bit of a look at what your last 3 weeks are like. Might do that for every team. And
Who beat the bye?
good question.
Wollongbar.
Moreland beat the Buys. So
Moreland
I think
beat
I'll
the
tell you,
Buys.
they're my danger team. I did say that. So the rest could have done them really well, and they're going to be able
They
to
want to knock
upset some apple
yes.
cuts. So, all that being said, that I think that's pretty
That's a
much a wrap in the
Around the grounds.
Mate. We want to jump in now and have a look at next week's games. Talking about,
Well, we've got a bye and then
Talking
the week
about-
after.
we might even get young Baylor's input into this. So the next week, round 4. Oh, sorry, not next week. Sorry, the week after. So with 2 weeks, we got the. This is it. I'm actually not even going to talk about it, but round 14. We'll just talk about round 14. Games coming up.
You take us through the games coming up, bud.
Balamble, Tweed Coast.
What do you reckon?
Balamble.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. I'm saying Balamble. Mate, if they're healthy, they need some cattle back. If they go into that game against Tweed Coast with the team that they had on the weekend, I'm going to say it could be a very long day for Balamble.
I'm still sticking with Believe. I think they'll win and win comfortably.
And it's at Balamble. So,
Yeah.
is that on a Sunday?
Mate, not sure if it's on a Sunday or not.
Yeah, well, guess where I'll probably be.
Watching Balamble on
Yeah,
Tweed
probably.
Coast.
Yeah,
You're on your own there.
yep, I know. Thanks, Les.
All right, mate.
Sport's
What's the
great.
next game?
Mullum Ballina.
Marlon Ballina? I'm
I
going
reckon
Ballina.
Ballina.
I think between you and me, mate, I think this could be Mullumbimby's season gone.
I'm tipping Ballina 50 to 6.
It's at Mullum.
Tipping Ballina 50 to 6.
It's at Mullum.
Yep.
Okay. Please, Mullum, put on a show for me so I can actually come back. Not for anything else other than to say, Foxy, I told you. But anyway, I'm saying Ballina.
You
I'm
go,
not
mate.
saying 50 to 6, but I'm saying
Ballina.
Ballina.
Murubah v Coogin.
Moolumbar well rested. Coogins, well, everyone's going to be well rested. We've got 2 weeks off.
Yes.
Oh,
we
we've
got
got a week
one
off.
week off, yeah.
So, but I think the extra week could give Moolumbar some opportunity to get cattle back. I'm going to say,
Always a tough game, isn't it?
I'm going to.
Mooloolah
It's a grudge
versus
match.
Coogin. It's a grudge match.
Those two clubs are like brothers in Northern. So it is like a local derby. You have an interflow of players going between those two clubs over a long period of time in the competition. I'm actually going to say Moolumbar in an upset.
Nice. Well, I'm going Coogin.
There
By
you
2.
go. I'm
What
going
do
to
you
put a
reckon,
shout
bud?
out
Coogin.
before we get to the shout outs. I'm going to put a shout out to Simply Red from Wollongbar, the number 13. Mate, go out, go hard, run havoc, and, see if you can create the upset.
Kyogle Casino. Who do you reckon's going to win the
Well, you know what I'm
Winx
calling
Mate,
this?
this
you know-
one's
you
going to
know-
be.
you
This
know-
one's going to be a cracker.
I'm calling this the Spooner round.
I'm calling this the game of the round.
I'm calling it the Spooner.
Who's going to win it, though?
Whoever stirs the spoon the hardest.
I'm going.
I'm not
I'm going
laughing at.
Kyogle.
I'm just saying. The Kyogle Casino games are always great games. This one's at
Always
Turkey
great
Town.
games.
There will be fire and brimstone because this could be who finishes
That's going
last.
to have to be a Saturday game.
Is it a Saturday game?
That's one.
What are you doing?
Mate, who do we don't play, do we?
No.
Mate,
That's one.
What are you thinking? Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
yeah.
Do you
I'll
want
have to run it by the boss, but yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
That's one. That's
Hey,
one
here you
pop-
go. Turkey Town. Get ready. The Gingy and the Fox are going to try and get out to watch the game between Kyogle and Casino. We might even, after tonight, go back and speak to the Golfmeister, and we might even
Get him to
go
record.
over and do some commentary
Ooh.
in the first grade game. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, if
Do
it's
you
on.
reckon our manager if we have a conversation with him after this, could organise that. I'd love to. I actually would love to come, because I know we get a lot of commentary and all the teams that are in the top, mate. These teams that are in the competition, they deserve a bit of commentary as well. So
Yeah,
if our media manager
and Kygel, if you're listening,
yep,
big Foxy salad rolls, please, in the canteen.
there you go. So we will be there for the Spooner.
Beautiful. Well, you just locked me in now, so I've got no choice.
There you go.
We got Marist via Lower Clarence.
I'm saying I'm actually going to go out on a limb here.
I know you are.
You know what I'm going to say?
You're going to say Marsh Brothers.
Marsh Brothers in an upset.
I'm going to go lower. Fighting for a semi-final spot, I'm going to go lower.
I think between you and me, I think Marist is going to put Lower's season to bed. Mm-hmm. So there's the challenge, brothers.
Right, Lower.
Form speaks for itself. They had good form. They had a really close game with Lower down at Lower a couple of weeks back. Mm-hmm. They had I thought, a pretty reasonable game against us a couple of weeks ago, and then they come up with a win against Mullumbimby, who've been going pretty good. What do you think, mate?
I'm going to go on my heart for my pop, and I'm going to go Marist.
Going for Marist.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to go out on a limb for your pop, because your pop supports Northern. There you go.
He played for Marist, though.
Yeah, so did I, but that doesn't mean I have to support him.
Yeah, the Gingy played for Marist too.
Played on the
you
bench.
didn't know that. There's one for you, Buzz.
Played on the bench, though.
Yeah, I played first grade.
And what have we got left, bud?
Byron v Evans.
Byron v Evans. This is going to be
At Byron.
This is going to be a good game too, isn't it? Byron v Evans.
I think this is going to be a forward matchup, because I think the Byron pack are huge. And I think, I can't, geez, I wish I was there, because I'll tell you now. I'll tell you why. I am going to watch it on Bar TV for this simple fact in itself. The competition between Big Deal and Hayden Kennedy, I'd love to be there just to watch that battle play itself out. Because Big Deal, I know he doesn't punch out as many minutes as what he used to, but I'll tell you now, I watched him at Balambal on the weekend, and he took it to that Balambal forward pack, and he nearly tore them apart.
Well, you know what you're getting with Dill, don't you?
Yeah,
Like
mate, every week. I'm
he mightn't be the 80-minute
lucky
footballer,
people,
but he still gives
I'm one
you
of
a
the lucky
lot.
people that had the opportunity to coach Dill when he was a kid, and then also coached him at Ballina in first grade. And, mate, I knew week in, week out what I was going to get out of Dill. And I watched him on the weekend, and I actually thought to myself, mate, for a bloke that's on the back end of his career, he nearly did something over. But he actually had Balambal pretty on the back foot. They thought, yeah. So but there you go, Dill. There's a plug for you, brother.
So who are you tipping?
I'm tipping Evans in a close one.
What about you, bud?
Probably Evans too.
Mate, well, I'm going to go because I don't like doing the same as
I thought you were
Gingy.
just about to say I don't like Evans. I was going to say, what the hell?
I don't like doing the same as Gingy, so I'm going Byron.
By what?
8.
Do you know what the crazy thing about this is? It could be that type of game, because Byron still have an opportunity to hit the 6.
Yeah.
So they have to win.
And they've had tough semi-finals together last year. There's a bit of rivalry there. They played twice last year, so let's see what you can do, Byron. Come on.
So that would be round 14 in its entirety. So we've got the Gingy's tips, we've got the big Balesters tips, and I'm not even going to, Foxy he just makes up whatever. He just goes, whatever me and you tip, he just goes the opposite, so it doesn't really matter. So that's the round 14 roundup.
Which is not this weekend, but next weekend, because this weekend we have a week off, don't we?
Yeah, I'm going to talk, but that's going to be in my, I'm going to actually talk about that in our free flow session.
Get into it now.
I'm just going to say, I've never,
Ever.
in the histories of the Evers, we're having a week off of Splendour. The NRRRL. Look, honestly, guys, I know we've got clubs like Byron Bay, Mullumbimby, Tweed Coast Raiders, maybe some of the Tweed teams. I'm not quite sure.
Can we take our podcast to Splendour?
Imagine that. Imagine me and the Foxy in the Bales commentating on
At Splendour.
who's the headline act. But mate, we're having a week off for Splendour, and I think this is the first time it's happened this year.
No, I think they've had it.
I don't think
It's a couple of years now, at least. Yeah.
No, we didn't have a weekend off last year for Splendour. There was
Are you
some
sure?
No, yeah, mate. I'll tell you why. Because I was in a pretty heated debate around, because we were playing Mullumbimby around that time, mate. And I've gone, well, mate, they wanted to have a Saturday off, and I said, no, we're playing because we're scheduled to play a Saturday game, and we had to change it. So, mate, I just want to know, can someone give me some, because I know you got teams like Lower, you got Marist, Northern, Casino, Kyogle. We're all sitting back going, Splendour bloody what? Like, we want to play footy. We're 3-4 weeks away from the competition ending, and then going in the final series. You want consistency, and all of a sudden you got
week off for Splendour.
Like, anyway, I just hope it's worth it. Maybe it's a week to get, it's an opportunity for some clubs to get some blokes that are out injured and the whatnot. It doesn't help suspensions.
I don't like it. Get rid of it.
Yeah. So my recommendation to the NRRRL is, can this be our last Splendour weekend off? Because seriously, guys, we're here about footy. I mean, I didn't realise we were, here for Splendour. But anyway, good luck for those people that are going to Splendour and all those teams that are, have players going and getting their Splendour on. I'm just going to go fishing. But anyway, that'll do, mate.
Okay, that's enough Splendour talk.
So, mate,
get into the ladder.
Let's have a look at some of the ladders. We want to jump in, Bales, and what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the ladder. I'm going to give each of us an opportunity here now to go through. I'm going to give Les his favourite one to go through. I'm going to give Bales the one that I think is going to be well deserved for him, because he's going to go through the under-18s ladder. And then me and Les will share the other two, which is these two competitions. So we might start now, obviously. Let's start where we are, Les, and we'll go through the first grade ladder.
Yep.
So the first grade ladder as it sits post round 13. So we've got Ballina on 24. We've also got Bilambil coming second on 24. So differential's the difference there, and it's a pretty big differential, to be totally honest. It's around 100 points. So long story short, unless Ballina have some really serious things going the next 3 weeks, I can't see them going anywhere but first.
Yep.
Bilambil, obviously, sitting in second spot, 2 points between, obviously, with our loss in the weekend, that kicks us down the ladder. We're still sitting third. Gives the buffer between the lower teams and the top two teams is 8 points, so there's no way that any of those teams below those two can push up into the top two. Mm-hmm. Northern, with that loss, go to 22 points, sitting third. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to go out. We're going to need some big results going into the back end from. I'm not going to be doing, and we've had a talk about this in our club where we're not going to be ladder watching. Mm-hmm. We're going to let that take care of itself, and we're just going to have to get out, play week in, week out footy now. We're sitting comfortably in third. We've also got a bye going into next week, which probably puts us in a position where we can't be touted out of third spot. The only thing that we can sit back on is hope results maybe go our way in the last 3 weeks and we get a run back into that, top two position. And between us and Bilam, we'll have that tussle out. But we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to predict what the back end is going to be, other than I know that we need to win both games to stay, in third spot. Evans Head, sitting in fourth spot at the moment on 16 points. Also on 16 points, Tweed Coast Raiders. Mm-hmm. Differentials, again, quite extensive between Tweed Coast and Evans. I think there's well over 100 points, maybe 200 points between them differentially. So they're going to have Tweed Coast.
Who's got the better points differential?
Evans. Yeah, substantially.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, fifth spot, Tweed Coast Raiders. Sixth spot on 14 points right at this point in time is Coogin. There could be some shifting and moving depending on Tweed Coast's back ends of season. They could either remain or drop down to sixth spot or even fall out if Lower go on a bit of a run, which they've got a pretty good back end of the season, as you said, Les. So Lower's sitting on 14 points. So the differential is the difference between sixth and seventh spot. And again, that's around just under 80 to 100 points, or 80 to 90 points differential. So Lower's going to have to win. Their differential's way too low for them to even worry about for and against. So at this stage, that's the top six for the first grade competition.
Can we just have a quick look at them last from Evans down, their run home?
Yep,
is that all right? So they run home. So we'll look at Evans first, who was sitting in 4th spot, and their run home is.
Byron,
So they got Byron,
Ballina, and Northern.
Ballina, and Northern.
Tough
Tough run home.
run home.
Yeah. Tweed Coast, Bilambil, Murwillumbah, and Coogin. Tough run home.
Very tough run home.
Very tough run
Very
home.
tough run home.
Coogin. Coogin got Murwillumbah,
Tough.
Bilambil,
Tough.
and Tweed Coast.
Tough. Oh, God.
Tough run home.
Those bottom 3, actually, those bottom 4, why don't we throw, can we throw Lower Clarence's?
So Lower Clarence's run home is Marsh Brothers,
Yep.
Kyogle,
Yep.
and Casino.
What do you reckon, Bales?
So
What do you say your bottom 6 is? The bottom 3.
Bottom 3, maybe. I reckon Coogin might fall and Lower Clarence might come up.
Jeez, that's a big call, Bales.
I reckon
You could be right, though.
I reckon any of those 3 teams from 4th to 6th, well, I reckon they're going to fall, and I reckon Lower's
And
going to slip in.
remember Harrow's call? 3 and under, 3 to 6 is death round.
Death round.
Yep, so interesting.
Mate, all you got to do is make the 6 and you're in with a shot.
That's an interesting look at that point too of those last that run home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's and you throw Northern into that mix. You got a bye, you got Mullumbimby, and then Evans to finish with.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of teams fighting for their survival in that back end of the last 3 rounds of the competition, which is I don't know whether it's interesting how the competition's finished in first grade. Or finishing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it all finishes up.
And then you go into second phase, which is finals.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There you go.
We're
going to go into
Let's get into reserve grade, eh?
Yep, just go straight into the Reggies, mate.
Okay, so sitting on top on 26 points is the Bilambil Jets.
Yep.
Followed by Ballina on 24.
Yep.
22, the Murwillumbah Mustangs.
Yep.
18, the Coogin Hornets.
Yep.
Byron Bay 5th on 16 points with Lower Clarence sitting in 6th on 16 points. And then Marsh Brothers on 12.
Okay, I'm just going to go out on a limb now.
That's the top 6.
But Bilambil's going to win that reserve grade competition by a mile.
Okay.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them on the weekend against Byron, even though Byron were competitive for a period. Mate, that's a pretty good damn team, that Bilambil team.
Beautiful.
Okay, 18s.
18's, bud.
Tweedhead Seagulls sitting on 24 points.
Yep.
And also on 24, Murwillumbah Mustangs.
Ooh.
Bilambil sitting on 19, and Byron Bay also on 19. Northern on 18, and Lower Clarence on 14, and Ballina on 13.
Jeez.
That's a very close comp up
that top
there, isn't it?
5 going into this back end, considering Northern has a bye this next weekend, and then we finish with Ballina, who's coming 7th, and Evans, who are Tweed Seagulls. I'm pretty sure that top 5 is pretty much cemented in. And what's going to happen is the fighting over the last spot between
Lower and Ballina.
Lower and Ballina is going to be an interesting one.
I agree.
Although Lower played Northern on the weekend and they were pretty damn good.
That's interesting. So see how that. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
with you, Benji. I think
as I said, I've rated that competition, mate, and I think that's the NRRRL again. They've done great work to keep
mate,
that competition.
that top 5 there, mate, from 24 to 18 points. That's close, isn't it?
Yep, we're going to jump on now and have a look at the
Ladies League tag. Ladies League tag.
No, you do that. Go on.
All right.
Yep.
Ladies League tag. So on top, 24 points. Coogin, Marsh Brothers in second on 23. Bilambil 22. Ballina Seagulls 21. Tweed Coast Raiders in 5th on 17. And Northern United in 6th on 16. And then to round out the top 7 is Evans Head on 13.
Evans can't make it. I don't think Evans can make it. That's my prediction.
So that's the top 6 sorted.
And you look at Evans' back run in their first grade, and it's the same for
Ballina.
Ballina.
Northern.
Sorry?
Northern.
And
I don't know who the other one was.
they're playing all the teams in the top.
Yeah.
So I will say this too. I'll go out on a limb. It's going to take a bloody good side to beat that Coogin team.
Yeah, they're good.
They're special, mate. They're a good team. They're going to go. I think they're going to pretty much go close back to back.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's going to be the top 6 there.
Yeah, I've got a whatevs for you anyway for our from the northern perspective in relation to Ladies League tag, and I'm happy to announce it. I don't care. So we'll do that after we get to that whatevs bit. So, mate, the women's team, the women's,
all make it.
They're all going to make it.
Yep.
But
Done.
the way the ladder finishes is, the way the ladder is at the moment is Tweed Coast are on top, followed closely by Lower Clarence on 14. Northern United, who had a victory over the first defeat of the year for the Lower Clarence.
Oh, but I think they got beat the week before. The Lower Clarence team.
Sure?
Yeah,
Okay,
somebody
well,
told
there
me.
you go.
One of
You
the
could be
girls
right.
told me they got beat the week before.
Oh, you did? You're right.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at that now. So you're one ahead of me. At least
So they've had 2 losses in a row now, the Lower Clarence side.
Yeah, they were going great. They were undefeated there for up until 2 weeks ago. So that's a big in. But Northern United sitting in 3rd, Casino sitting in 4th, Kyogle 5th, and South Grafton into the 6th. But all those teams will be playing finals footy this year. There you go. That would be our roundup of the ladders.
Beautiful.
Let's just have a quick look now, Les, and I want to talk just briefly. The Origin results, obviously, Queensland were winners of the Origin, but they lost the last game. Yeah, we got a couple of Blues supporters. They were pretty happy, even though Les, the whole way through from game 1 to 3, Les tipped Queensland.
I tipped the Blues the last game.
No, you actually didn't. You actually put money on them, mate, so let's not go there. But young Bales, I think we got him in here last week and we talked about this, and he actually tipped the Blues.
Yeah.
What do you think about the game?
It was a good game. Like Bradman Best, Cody Walker, good game.
Did you like Bradman's best shaker league?
Yeah.
What do you think about? What do you rate it out of 10?
10. No, 11.
Do you?
Do you really?
I'm going 3.5.
I'm going to put my blackfellow lens on, and I'm going to say it was probably a 3.
Yeah, I'll go 3.
It was rough.
But good on him.
He's actually, well, mate, you know what? Funny thing is,
Newcastle boy.
But here's the big call. I looked at Bradman's best, and we had this conversation, and I don't think young Bales knows this. We all thought it was just a bit of a thing, about some Bradman best, Indigenous boy. There you go. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, but guess what? Everyone that's watching the podcast now knows that.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, well, mate, if we get you along, we're going to learn even more. So,
mate,
but that being said, mate, I just
Cody Walker, man of the match.
Yeah, I'll just, you know what? I'm actually absolutely bloody.
It's the podcast. It's the podcast.
I'm so peeved off with myself. God, guess why?
Why?
I should have put $25 on it.
Oh.
Responsible gambling. That's what my wife said, Chris, not tonight. So anyway.
Well, what about my tip, mate? Ruben Hurricane Cotter, man of the series.
You didn't put any money on him either.
I just told you. That means more to me when I get tip over you.
So here's an interesting fact. People like me that do a lot of research into the game, this is the proven fact. The proven fact is that Queensland, in the women's state of origin, the men's state of origin, listen to this, the under-16 state of origin, the under-19s women's victories. New South Wales won 1 series out of the whole of series across all the age groups, and that was the under-19s men's. And well done, Queensland. That's why people like me and the people that know rugby league support Queensland. So my recommendation is this can only get better, and we will go on a bit of a run for the next 3 or 4 years. Huh?
You got to be crazy.
Why?
Living down here.
I'll tell you what crazy is. I'm going to tell you what crazy is, Buzz. And I'm so glad you're on here tonight, and I'm so glad you're wearing your Australian Wallabies jumper. And I know how much of an avid rugby union supporter you are. But, mate, have you seen the Wallabies results the last couple of weeks?
I mean...
No. Let's really talk about it.
The Wallabies game was a good game.
Both the games, they got trashed in. Did you see the games?
That's South Africa, though.
No, it doesn't matter. Listen, it could be Timbuktu. They got thrashed, mate. They both their warm-up games going into World Cup.
Honestly, under 10.
Do you honestly think they got right set Ed back to coach? Do you think he's going to be a factor going into that World Cup coming up very soon?
I don't know, but he's got to pick his act up though.
Well, I think the whole Australian team needs to pick their act up, mate.
But
At the moment, mate, they're not Wallabies, they're Joeys.
I'll tell you,
but anyway.
the Australia-Argentina game was a good game until
Australia got beat.
the last seconds it come down to.
The Wallabies got beat, mate.
Yeah, let's get past
Let's move on to that.
All right, mate, we've got here. You got on here, mate, a bit of judiciary stuff you want to talk about.
Well, it's just been interesting. We talked about it last week. About I'm not going to get into that conversation.
Goffy's Goss was sightings.
Yep.
That's what brought it all up.
The NRL judiciary has been very, very busy the past few weeks.
Yep.
And what I'm thinking is, I think the activity in the last 4 to 6 weeks in the NRRRL's judiciary process, plus the other aspect of that is also the match review committee. There's been people being cited post the Monday reviews. The referees now go and put put it on report. So that goes to the match review committee. The match review committee makes a determination. That determination works out whether it goes to the next level, which is fronting up against the judiciary. But the last 4 to 6 weeks, the activity's been huge. That panel has been absolutely flat-strap busy, both from a player perspective and also from a supporter perspective as well. I know that there's stuff going on there. But what impact do you think that's going to have come final series on clubs that have players missing? Les?
It'll have a big impact.
Huge impact.
Missing from teams.
I don't know what some of those outcomes. There's been a lot of rumours going on about players that have been suspended for an extended period of time from certain clubs. That I think it's going to have a huge impact in results come semi-final time. It could even have a huge impact in results over the next 3 weeks. So my only piece of advice to clubs is I'd be probably, and I've done this, I'd be probably pulling it back a bit and stripping it down and having real conversations with the teams that you're coaching and your teams that are in that 6, in all those grades, and actually be saying, hey guys, we have to be disciplined. The referees are doing a great job. I'm actually not going to. This isn't. I want to actually credit the referees for the way they're officiating the games, but more importantly, some of the calls they're making that are being put forward, they actually are doing a lot of review themselves, apart outside of the match review committee, to make sure that they get their calls right. So, mate, the guys that are Pencil and Paulie Ladder and Joshy Gollan, you guys that are obviously the senior blokes in your refereeing ranks, I just want to give you some credit and saying, I'm not saying go out and cite people or not cite people, put people on report every week, but if it warrants it, mate, do it, and then let it play out. But as I said, the onus is back on the clubs, the onus is back on the coaches to be able to demand discipline, and that's something that particularly, people like myself will be going back and saying to our players, and if they can't get it together, mate, you pull up the next best player that's going to give you that. And that's the way that I think I'm going to be able to look at counteracting those issues into the future, the next 3 weeks. And then obviously, because you don't want anyone sitting out, you want your best players playing semi-final football in every club. That's the ultimate, isn't it? What do you think, mate, Buzz?
Oh, well, some of the good players are out. They can get some of the younger fellas in, give them a go, run around. Could change it up, push it down.
Oh, geez, I didn't really, mate. I thought you were just here to make up numbers tonight, but you actually have some good input. You're learning, mate. You're learning, which is great.
The younger fellas could get better and all that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I've been doing that in first grade. I've been blooding some young blokes in our club that I think have got a major future. So, good point, mate. Good point. Yeah. So, what's your, Les, you got a call on it?
No, mate. I just think teams need to be smarter the way they're playing. Like you said, be real disciplined, because the last thing you want is a couple of boys missing come semi-final time, isn't it? So.
Yep. So.
Yeah, but like you said, the refs are doing a great job. I think they've been pretty consistent all year. So, yeah, good stuff. So, we're going to move right in to the Goffy's Goss.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to hand it over to the young Goff.
That's your time to shine.
The young Goffmeister Bales.
Oh, yeah. Well,
What have you got?
What have you got? What have you got? Straight out of Goffy's Goss section.
what the old man told me is Brothers will have a new coach next season.
Ooh.
A bit of unrest in the brothers camp, is there?
Yeah, and
So what's the inside info on that? Any names being thrown around by the old fella, or is it just unrest?
unrest.
Unrest,
Couldn't tell ya.
unrest, yeah. So player unrest, is that the case?
Yeah.
I'm hearing brothers are looking to turn it around, but obviously they have to, they will. But there's a right way to do that, and I think there's a wrong way to do that. And I'm not going to be here, on the podcast and telling brothers how to do their job. But at the end of the day, sometimes you can make really harsh decisions based on trying to fix things quick, and I know that from my experience up at Northern the last few years. The only way that you can fix things is from the inside, which is you got to work with those blokes that have been putting their hands up when other people may have not have been around. You've got to look at your coaching ranks within, your club systems, and getting that right. I think that's your key first before you look to go out and do something outlandish. But anyway, it's interesting. That's an interesting insight into brothers. Watch this space.
Northern United versus Ballina Grand Final.
Is that from Gossy? Oh, Gossy. Is that from the golfer?
Yeah.
There you go.
The big
so
fella.
the prediction, is that a prediction from? Is that his prediction? Have you guys had a good talk about that?
Yeah.
And what's your thoughts, Buzz?
I reckon he's got it right on this one.
Okay, there you go.
Maybe put the nail on the head.
There you go.
That's another watch this space.
Oh, mate, I've got a bit of goss that's come from the golf as well.
That's all from me.
Sorry?
Late mail goss, is it?
It's a bit of a late mail goss. So what this is about probably goes back to that conversation we just finished off. So apparently it was a disgrace, the words from the golf is a bit of a disgrace what happened over in the under-18s game at Casino with players, calling referees and strappers obscenities, abusing the referees and strappers, and the game actually had to be called off. Now, for us, that's not what we don't want to see that in the game. So we're not going to comment on that, obviously, because that's going to now be sorted by the judiciary and the officials that officiated the games. But any under 18 that's out there, any player in any grade that's out there, look, these referees and these officials, they're human.
Yeah.
And mate, you're looking me, you're looking me in the eye because you know that sometimes I give a good spray. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be really honest about this. I would have been 2 years ago. I actually sat down and actually had to reassess that for myself. And as I said, mate, these guys are human. They make mistakes. Mate, so do blokes in the NRL. We haven't got the luxury of going to the, bunker. And that being said, I think the people that are out there that are sometimes knocking these guys, try and put yourself in their shoes. I think, there's plenty of referees courses at junior levels and senior levels. Rather than blow a whistle at these blokes, take a whistle in your hand, go and do a course, put a shirt on, go out and see if you can do it. I actually had to do that myself, seriously, and it was the biggest learning. It was actually, no, I did, and mate, I got right up to the point where I was going okay, and I got to referee under 16s levels, which is
the worst ref ever, I reckon.
Mate, I'm going to be honest, I got told I was pretty good, but when you give out as much crap as I gave, you actually, when you put the referee shirt on, you actually got to think, well, shit, what do I have to take? So that being said, look, guys, the message in that is there's no need for that in our game. Everyone, coaches, strappers,
whoever.
blue shirters, first aiders,
Mate,
we're all here for the right reasons.
We don't have a game.
Exactly, mate.
You don't run the game, the ref does.
Exactly.
That's it.
And as I said, mate, they make mistakes. They're human.
Respect is key.
What was that, mate?
Respect is key.
There you go. So there you go, you young blokes that are out there,
Young Goff.
coming from a young bloke that's on our podcast tonight, and there's first graders out there. If there's for any Northern players that watch the podcast, what was it again, brother?
Respect is key.
There you go. give it and you get it back in droves. So, let's keep that out of the game. We've had a great season to this point, and we don't need that crap creeping in at the end of our season. So, well said, and that's that'll be the Goffy's Goss. So well done, Bars. You've done great for your first segment on the podcast. There could be many more after this. I can tell you that. We're going to get into the whatevs section. So the first thing is, I want to make an announcement. We did say next week we're going to do something a bit different.
We're having the week off.
No, we're going to do our knockout podcast. Yeah. So I've been in contact. We're going to cover because there's no games this weekend, so we don't have to report on that. So we're going to go and do a knockout podcast next week. That is, for those people that don't know, the viewing audience, the knockout podcast is the Koori Knockout, New South Wales Aboriginal Rugby League Knockout, the Murray Carnival, which is the Murray version of the New South Wales Knockout. When I say the Murray version, that they own the Murray Carnival. That's how they play it up there. And then we're also going to look at we're going to make some really big announcements in the Lismore Aboriginal Rugby League Knockout for 2023 as well, which has been played. The Lismore Knockout should really excite all of our local podcast viewers in the region, because it's going to be in our homegrown town here in Lismore, the first and biggest major event post-floods and COVID. So I'm going to be meeting with the mayor, and I'm actually going to ask the mayor if he'd come on to the mayor of Lismore.
When it's on, we set this up in the lockers.
In the where?
In the lockers.
There you go. Oh, geez, he's a brainchild, this kid.
Is it air conditioned?
Yeah, there you go. So we're going to have a special podcast. We're going to have a special podcast next week, and it's going to be all dedicated to the knockouts around the area and the knockouts in New South Wales and both Queensland. I've already been in touch with Ian Lacey and Nathan Appo up in Queensland.
Beautiful.
And Ian's the coordinator of the Murray Carnival. I'm going to hopefully, between now and the weekend, have a chat to the Briggs boys.
Wait, you were supposed to do that for the last 2 weeks.
I've done it.
To the Briggs boys?
No. What? They're my cousins.
Yeah.
So, look, it's just like ringing up saying, hey, cuz, can we have a yarn? But on a serious note, we'll get the big wrap, and we'll get the inside info for the Koori Knockout held in Tuggerah this year.
Yep.
Great venue, by the way. Probably one of the best knockout venues I've been to, because everything's in the one spot.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
Don't
That's how
park
it is.
at Bunnings.
6 to 7 grounds.
Don't park at Bunnings.
Don't park at Bunnings. Yeah, you'll get a fine. Trust me. I know. But outside of that, mate, have you got anything for the Goffy's Goss section? Still not for the Goffy's Goss, for the whatevs, mate?
I'm going to get into the shout-outs.
No, hang on. Oh, yeah, I doubled up on that. Yeah, so any whatevs, mate? Any whatevs?
Nah, not really.
I've only got one whatevs. One more before we go to your shout-outs.
Yep.
My one whatevs for the night is I'm predicting that Australia will win the Ashes this weekend.
Oh.
Come Monday night, we will own the Ashes and bring it home.
The Matildas?
For those people that love cricket.
Cup? Well, how do you reckon they're going to go?
Mate, I seen an interesting thing and I watched it. I watched it on TikTok. For those people, yeah, I'm old. But TikTok, I did the Matildas. They did this thing where they got all the players together that are competing in the World Cup this year, and what they did was the theme was to talk about their heroes. More than half of those ladies that are playing for the Matildas, actually 75% of those ladies that are playing for the Matildas, funnily enough, all separate interviews about who their sporting hero was. Interestingly enough, 75% of those young ladies that are playing all said Cathy Freeman. So they sat down, and a part of that they were supposed to be talking about, what she meant and what it meant to them as women in sport. Unbeknown to these ladies, the coaching staff of the Matildas contacted Cathy Freeman, and she turned up whilst this session was just starting, and literally blew all these ladies out of the water. But I sat back and watched that interview, and that whole, and it was amazing, mate. I never thought about sport, and she's an individual, as an athlete, but I never thought about sport the way that she I'd recommend anyone go and have a look at that interview with
gotta check it
Kathy
out.
Freeman with the Matildas. It was a good insight, not just into individual but team sport, and about character and about what it takes to win, and the sacrifices you have to make to be as good as what you are, but also to live up to people's expectations, but also then the burden of that expectation and how difficult it is to carry and still be successful. So there you go.
Go and check it out.
Yep.
Thanks for that, Gingy. That's good.
I do that sort of stuff every now and then.
Yeah, it's good.
You like
I
that?
actually do.
Bales,
I'll
I
check
think.
it out.
To be honest, one more thing, you should watch it. It's
Yeah.
it's actually inspiring.
I will.
Shout outs.
This is Les's favourite news section. It's the shout-out section, okay,
So-
guys? It is where people contact us on our Facebook site, the Gingy and Foxy Facebook site. Tap into it.
Get
You
on
can
there.
Get on there. You can
Give us a follow.
get us a follow. We can give shout-outs. We can
Drop
and
us a
the other thing we do
anything
on
for the goss section.
the other thing we actually do is we can actually put stuff in there for the goss section, and we can actually do the Koori Grapevine yarns,
Yes.
good, bad, or otherwise. So here we go. Shout-outs, mate. Let's
Shout
go.
out to Parlo Chickenelli. He loves the
Parlo loves it. Parlo, great person, mate. Great bloke. I played footy with Parlo. Could play the game,
Yeah.
mate. Great player, Parlo. So shout out to you, Parlo. You and the family, mate. I know you're up there. You've been up there also supporting your daughter at Northern playing ladies tackle.
Yep.
She's going quite well as well, by the way.
Shout out to Tomcats Coastal Blacks Rugby League Football Club.
Mate, can I just say? Can I say something?
He's ready and pumped for the Murray Carnival,
And he's coming on next week.
They're looking pretty good.
Is he coming on next week?
Let's. I'll hit him up.
Yeah, we did.
I did, but I've got to remind him that it's
Yeah,
next
okay.
week.
Can Tomcat? It is a good shout out, but mate, we can't do it every week. Like there are other people that need a shout, not Tomcat. As you know, Tomcat, thanks for the shout out, but we need you on. We need you on next week. We're going to send you the link. But you did say you were going to be in person, so hopefully you are, because it'd be great to have you to talk about the Murray Carnival.
Shout out to Tony Buchanan. Haven't seen him for a
Tone,
while.
hey, there's one,
He loves the podcast. He
does he?
watches all the time.
mate. Tone, proud Bunjalung man, young Tone.
Yeah, he is.
Mate, I'll tell you, and back in the day, was one hell of a player. I got the privilege to coach Tone.
Yeah, with Dill.
Yeah, mate, and at senior levels as well.
Oh, yeah.
He had a bit of a stint with me playing. He was in and out of reserve grade and first grade, but mate, great player back in the day. But one hell of a touch footy player, mate. I could remember he Benji Marshall mate. He was that good.
Shout out to Jess Yates.
Jess Yates, there you go.
Yeah. Selsy's better half, Jess Yates. Selsy from Evans.
Yeah,
Aaron
yeah.
Sells. Jackie Legs. Jackie Legs, Jackie.
Yeah, I'm not happy with him.
Oh.
Not because of how he played on the weekend. He actually played all right, but
Oh, did he have a game, did he?
which
With
Jackie
Calamble?
Legs? Which Jackie Legs?
Isaac.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dave.
No,
they all call, every Jackie's called Jackie Legs. So when you say
Isaac.
Jackie Legs, you've got to be specific. Which
Well,
one?
It's Isaac.
Isaac. There you go. But he didn't play. I didn't see him on the weekend. But big shout out, Isaac. There you go.
And got a shout out from Matty Kelson. He said, shout out to Mick Muir because he looks like the Beaver Menzies.
Mick, can we? Here's one for you. Matty, can you send us a photo in to confirm that, and we'll show that on the podcast. There you go.
We've got a shout out for GI and the Goanna Academy.
Yeah, they were up, mate. They did a great. I think they went to Ballina this week. They also went to Northern. They were up. They went to. He was in Lismore today. He did Jarjum Preschool. There was a huge crowd when we got to training. And I'm going to be honest, mate. We all know what a great player GI was, and his Goanna Academy is doing bloody great work. Thanks to Kurimal for getting him up there today to training, Naomi and the guys. The other thing to that is, how big is he?
He's a big unit, isn't he?
Mate,
He's so tall.
I looked at him today. I looked up to him today, But I looked to him today, and I was amazed as to how big he actually is. But how big he must have been back in the playing day, because his body shape's changed like we all do when we finish playing. But he's a huge man. He's a bloody big man.
Doing good things, GI, with the Goanna
Keep it up,
Academy.
GI. Great work. Mate, get Naomi to tap into the Gingy and Foxy podcast, GI, and get all the Academy boys to tune in.
Shout out to Emmanuel Roberts because he's deadly.
Well, mate, this is 2 weeks in a row. So, Emmanuel, mate, you're a great bloke. You know, love you like a brother. But we can't do it every week. The big man.
A shout out to Kyle Binge. Kyle Binge is 23 today. Happy birthday, Kyle Binge, because
Hang on.
his father forgot about it.
Listen.
That's
Kyle.
coming from Kylie Binge.
Kyle, honestly, I did forget. Kyle, and all my family and all my kids, even Kylie, my wife, you all know that my memory when it comes to things like, you know, birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, I'd even forget my own funeral.
He doesn't forget who Northern plays every week, though.
But Kyle Binge, sincerely from the bottom of your dad's dolphin heart, happy birthday, my son.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Kyle Binge.
22nd.
Happy birthday.
Third. Is it 23?
You're having a shocker.
Is it 23?
He's 23 today.
Holy shit, I'm getting old.
Yeah, you are.
So, happy birthday, my son. Your birthday present will be
The boat.
the boat.
The boat's
I'll
yours.
take you fishing between now and Sunday.
No,
on,
you
on
own
the boat.
You actually own the boat.
No, you don't own the boat. You'll never own the boat. But you will be getting a fishing trip this weekend, proudly sponsored by your dad. I might even show you something from BCF, mate. So, love you like a son, because that's what you are. And my apologies from the bottom of my dolphin heart. Love you, boy. Mate, you missed one. There was a couple from last week that you missed as well.
A couple from last week I'm trying to find. I'm double checking.
There you go, the United Canteen from the Golf Star. He loves your canteen. The only thing I would say is when he's at games, we need to keep him away from there as much as possible, because when he gets home, he is probably about 4 kilos bigger. But anyway, did you have something at the Northern Canteen?
Nah, didn't. No. I was tired.
What happened to the birds?
Nothing, I was just a bit tired. It wasn't anything about the birds, I was just tired.
Okay, there you go. Poor boy. He was
A
tired.
couple missed last week. Shout out to Kyden Bolt.
There you go.
Happy 10th birthday.
Happy
last
10th
week.
birthday. Yeah,
That we
Kyden,
missed.
really do apologise, mate. I know we're a week too late. Blame the Foxy for that one.
That's my fault, bud.
But happy birthday, mate, because I always see you at our Northern games, up there supporting your Uncle Tim, Kari, your auntie and all of your family that play for Northern. So and I know you get down and watch a lot of the Evans games as well, mate. So happy birthday. Wish you all the best, mate, and we'll see you hopefully in a couple of weeks' time when we play at home, and then we'll see you during the final series.
That's it.
That would be the shout-outs for this week. So
And last week that we missed.
that, mate, I'll tell you what, it's been a great night. It's been a bit of a long night. You said we were going to be short, but then we went into a bit of a different phase. But, Bales, how do you think you shaped up for your first night, mate?
Bloody good.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Mate, it's
Bit
good
too
to have
late
you.
for you,
Good to have you. It's been a good experience. Hopefully you learn this sort of stuff, mate, and down the track we might even get you back on again. And the other thing we're going to do is probably, we might even get you to come down and be a part of the Lismore knockout and do some sideline commentary. What do you think? You up for that?
Mate, that's stepping up big
Do
time.
you want to? Would you mind coming down for a run with me and Leslie and
Love
be
to.
the big foxy and doing some commentary and at the Lismore knockout? That's where you cut your teeth, mate. You never know. There could be a major future in this. We could be your,
Might
mentors.
be the NRRRL footy show.
Yeah, mate. Well, you never know. We could actually take this to a whole step further. And
We might take over the Matty John show.
well, mate, I've been saying that for a while. I think we're podcasting him out of this. So I watched the Matty, you know the John's family podcast, which is his 2 sons, his missus. I'm going to just go on record, Matty. Geez, I hope you watch this podcast and you actually want to put this on. Your missus is way funnier than you are. That is true, mate.
Don't make him come after you.
Sorry?
Don't make him come after you.
That's a compliment. Mate, Matty Johns is a funny man, but his missus, she's bloody hilarious.
Before we go, Gingy, quickly, I've got one more whatevs.
What is it?
Where are our shirts?
Oh, can we get off that bloody shirt?
We've got one job.
Anyway,
Where's our shirts? Me and Goff's been waiting for our shirts.
Same.
It is coming. Look,
young
it's one
Goff.
step for, mankind and, the man that we do know that was a bit of a fake thing. Man never ever walked on the moon. If he did, he'd come back with a Milky Way, but he didn't.
All right.
Yeah, but anyway, look, we could keep rambling on, and we're not going to do that.
We're done.
Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to our sponsors, ILH Construction, M&K Business Solution, Mary G's, Get to the G-Spot, and Mary G's got the front bar open. We've got Hearn Security and Agency Design.
Strutty Sport.
And Strutty Sport.
Gear.
And how can we forget this?
Mark
Goff
Media.
Media Sport. How's that, eh? So, all that being said, thank you, Bailey. Thank you, Foxy. That would be an NRRRL, Foxy and Gingy wrap.
Wrap up.